続いてはですね、これがラストパート、テーマの中ではラストパートということで、早速パネリストの方をお呼びしたいと思います。まずはトリネ・ヘイネマンさん、そしてドミニク・クレンさん、そしてタイの方からはティティトン・タッサナカチョンさん、お願いします。さあ、ということで改めてご紹介します。デンマークからトリネ・ヘイネマンさん、そして、サンフランシスコの方からドミニク・クレンさん、そして、トンさんと私呼んでますけども、バンコクから今日は来られています。そしてテーマの方は、英語で言うと Countdown to the Future、 未来へのカウントダウン、ということで、カウントダウンというと本当にもう10秒からのカウントダウンなので、もうすぐそこということですね。未来はすぐそこということで、これからのガストロノミーについて、伺っていこうかなとも思います。まずはですね、そうですね、トリネさんから、参りたいなと思うんですけども、意外とフューチャーっていう、未来っていうキーワードは、日々聞く言葉かと思いますけども、なんか今の時代このフューチャーっていう言葉がもっと重くリアルに感じるような時代でもあると、今日いろんなお話も皆さんパネリストのお話を聞きながらも感じましたところだと思うんですけども、トリネさんはもうたくさんのこのフードシーン、ガストロノミーの世界に関しては著書も書かれていて、今のガストロノミー界の動きというんですかね、方向性っていうのもたくさん見てるかと思います。そんな中で、日本ではまだ話題にはなり始めてはいるんですけども、そのジェンダーっていうキーワードでちょっとまずお聞きしていきたいんですけども、今実際のこのシーンのジェンダーについての捉え方っていうのはどういう動きになって、どの方向性にいってます、トリネさん。
Yeah, you're right. The future is always here right now. So it's not something out here, it's something we have to think about every day, because tomorrow is the future. I want to start with the theme of what we've been talking about for the last 3 days, which is tradition in motion when it comes to gender. Because when we say gender, of course, what we're also talking about is how many women are engaged in the hospitality industry as cooks, and how many are engaged in the restaurants, in the high end, the middle end, and also the more everyday or the street food. And that changes in all countries. But if we look at it in a more general perspective, we have a shortage of women in our industry, especially women going all the way to the stars and the Netflix shows and things like that. And you can always say, why is that important? Because the reason why it's important is because it creates role models for young girls who has to think about what they want to do in the future. Why is it important to have diversity and have equal amount of women and men, but also other sexes today, which we have a lot of different categories for? That is, I am a true believer we all have talent. We all have the same talent. So if we are not making sure that everybody has access to do what they can thrive to do, we will miss out on talent. When we go down to the more traditional divide between men and women and say, if women are not working and not engaged in the industry, you will lack the talent. There's some talent that didn't come up there. But the other thing is also, for society as a whole, it is an economic problem. It isn't a problem for the economic situation. The more the women are engaged in the workforce, the better economic situation you have in your country. The more education both sexes has, the better economic situation you can build. But it's also important to say that there's a paradox here, because around the world, women are cooking at home. And they are nurturing their families. They are very close to in many countries, very close to the soil, to the nature, to understanding biodiversity, and a lot of the other topics we've been talking about for the last couple of hours. So therefore, it is extremely important in that journey that women have access to power, to money, to make decisions, and therefore, as leader in our industry, we support everybody, but we also really work on supporting women to be, and young women especially, to become part of it. And I come from a country, Denmark, where there's a lot of equality when it comes to, we have a woman prime minister, we have lots of women in parliament and government and all of that. But even in my industry, there's only about 28% women. And as soon as they start get near the age of 30, they disappear from the industry to have a family, and they don't have the same support system, they don't have the same network to achieve their dreams. So we have a lot of work in the future. And why is that important for the future? Because as we also talk about, we need talent. We need lots of young people who wants to work, who wants to cook, who wants to share the passion of what comes from the soil and from the land and from the sea. So there's an opportunity here to talk into the young women and inspire them to come on this journey with us, and then we can widen the workforce and have more people to choose from.
Yes, thank you. Trina, just to follow up on what you were saying right now, it is also true, though, that here, for example, I don't know how much research you've been doing for Japan, but in Japan, yes, there are discussions. I'd say probably starting, but are we really seriously taking it?
I will say I've only been here for 3 days, so it's very difficult to be a judge, but I have seen very little women in the kitchen. I saw women in Miyazawa's kitchen, which was very, very happy. And I went to a restaurant called Julia with Chef Nao, who is a chef there and runs her restaurant. Because whenever I travel to a city, this is the first thing I do, is to find out where is the restaurants with the female head chef, and then I will go visit it to support it and to be able to share that with everybody.
なるほど。Let me jump to Ton. Chef Ton, honestly, I love Thailand, I love Thai food, but when I go to Thailand, また英語で喋ってました。ごめんなさい。So sorry. 今から乗ってきてどうすんねんって話だね。ごめんなさい、トンシェフ。タイがすごく大好きで、特にタイ料理がとても大好きで、当然行くときにはもうレストランというかもうストリートに行きます僕は。でおばちゃんがもうガーッとその場で焼いている料理をバッとそのままいただくっていうのがなんか好きで、こんなのでそれでタイの文化にすごく惹かれたところがあって、自分自身はまだトンシェフのレストランに行ってないので何とも言えないので大変失礼なことなんですけども、トンさんも実は自分のベースっていうのは自分のフューチャーっていうのは未来っていうのは過去にある、つまり母とおばあちゃまの料理っていうふうに聞いたんですけども、どういうふうに捉えてます自分の料理っていうのは。
About my food, it's all my restaurant I have about 10 restaurants, and everything is Thai food, in different direction and different level, and like you said, is the love of cooking is from my grandmom and my mom, who is a single mother, raising three boys, and then my grandmom who cook for me every day, and that I think is the how I love actually food, and then how I become the chef today. Even I graduate in different. I graduated in economics actually. So, but yeah, I think that is how the love of the food begins when I was young. And for about the future, the topic that we have today, and then all the panel has been discussed in these few days, that how we actually should provide the path for the future. And then I believe that the chef career or the cook career has been over sold and then over promoted in the past 10 years. in a good way and in a bad way. You know, in a good way that we have much more amazing chef, you know, and then young generation of chef, including myself 10 years ago, because that, you know, oversold, over-promoted story, and that lead me to become a chef and who I am today as well. And I'm very grateful for that. But I still think that, you know, this path of the PR, the marketing, you know, the Netflix of, you know, chef is very cool, and, you know, celebrities and superhuman lead many young generation to the career that they actually doesn't want, not necessarily want. And then I think this is the time maybe that we have to, like a lot of chefs says, that we have to show the fact. We have to speak the truth and then lead them to the right direction, you know. Maybe now we have to ask them twice that, you know, all the culinary students that they want to be the chef one day, and we might have to ask them twice that, are you sure this is what you want to do? And then we have to tell them the consequence of what is actually take, and it's not always beautiful. And if you really want to do it, then there's many steps and many sacrifices you have to do. And I think we have to ask them as well that at the end of this long tunnel, what they actually want, and then what they actually want to get out from this career. And because we all know, I think, this is, when you start to cook and then you start your career of cooking, is, for me, myself, personally, I think it's very hard to return. You know, is in a way that, you know, if you start this and then you're in the cooking business for 10 years, or you cook in the life for 5 years, for 10 years, if you want to quit and do something else, it's very difficult. And that is the realities. And then it's the reality that we have to tell the young generation as well, that this is the risk that they have to take. Of course, it's very good for us and for myself also, that if a lot of people want to work in the restaurant, and we have many choice, and then we have plenty of cooks that want to work in our restaurant. But I think maybe now is the time that we have to, you know, adjust and then tell them what exactly, you know, they have to go through to is that the right career for them. And I think that's very important. And then because I think if we do that, we will get the people that actually really want to do it. And then I think that will make the gastronomy and the industry actually improve in the future. That I know that's now a lot of shortage of the staff, of the cooks all over the world. But I think if we not fix it now, we will go through a lot more trouble in the future.
さっきプリンさんからも、ね、ジェンダーの話があって、トンさんにちょっと引き続き聞きたいんですけど、今、次世代のシェフたち、以前からトンさんおっしゃってるのは、その次世代のシェフたちに未来も考えたいと、彼らの未来を考えたいと。なので、そのディフィカルティって言ってますけど、いわゆるこの業界の厳しさを伝えていかなきゃいけないっていうお話も今ありましたし、ある程度の覚悟を持って入れとおっしゃってますけども、その反面もちろん覚悟もいるんでしょうけども、今タイの状況を見てると、例えば政権交代もありましたし、なんか新たな波が今寄せてるような感じもして、いわゆるヤングジェネレーションのエネルギーっていうものが一気になんか溜まってたものが爆発している。これはタイのガストロノミーシーンでも実際に感じ取っていることですか？ということは若い世代もこの料理業界に入ってきているという流れが出てきています。
Yes, I think in Thailand right now, especially after if everyone see the news, the election, we have like the new government that it's a new, super new. It's like all new generation, and then I think that what people has spoken, and then the new generation also has spoken. I think we have the record of the teenager or the new generation that came out, and then for voting and then selecting the prime minister, and then that is show that the new generation they care so much and they want to change. Then the thing that they really want is the change, something in this world. I think for them look at it. Maybe they look at us, they look at what we have done, and they think that all of us, has been doing something wrong in their mind, which is maybe somewhat true as well. And I think, this wave of change, happening in the gastronomy as well. A lot in Thailand right now, there's many chefs, that come out, the new chef, the younger generation of chefs that come out doing their own things, and then they come out with different ideas. Some people come in and then come out and then, okay, now they has been working in the Michelin star restaurant, for 5 years and then 6 years, and then they came out and then they open a street food, and then they're like, okay, no more of this, career. I think this the way of the food should be. And that is the example of many, many things that will come. And then, I don't know it's good or bad, but it's the expression of the new generation. And I think what we can do is to provide them what the experience that we can share and what we think that can be helpful for them. And I think that's as much as we can do. We cannot stop them. We cannot stop the change, from the new generation, and it's already proven many times, in many countries around the world. And I think the best thing we can do is to promote this change, and then hopefully, give them the correct information so they can make the correct change in the future. And I think that's what we can do.
はい、ありがとうございます。ここでドミニクさんにお聞きしたいなと思うんですけども、僕はドミニクさんのお話を聞いてて、個人的にもさっきお話も聞かせていただいたんですけども、まさに今トンさんがおっしゃったニュージェネレーションというキーワードをフューチャー、未来ということと、あとそのニューバリュー、新しい価値観っていうところに当てはまるなっていうふうにすごく感じているのは、ドミニクさんの場合ですと、まさに再来週あたりにパリのど中心でお店もオープンされると、レストランオープンされると。しかもフレンチで攻めると思ったらフレンチ料理じゃなく、カリフォルニアクジーっていうんでしょうか、僕の場合だと呼び方変わるかもしれないですけど、もうマルチカルチャーのクロスカルチャーの、ドミニクさんの料理を提供すると。でこれって私の知ってる感じでは、そのパリってのはとてもコンサバティブな、市場なのかなっていう印象があるんですね。まだそうなのかなと。だけどその中でそれを持ち込む、その発想を持ち込むっていうのは、極端な話、自分の子供たちを見ててもスーパーミックスなんですよ。いろんな DNA がミックスされて、周りの子供たち見て、すごいミックスが多いな、どんどんみんなクロスカルチャーしてるんだっていう世の中の割には、まだオールドスクールのメンタリティ、政治、っていうのが残ってて、それをドミニクさんは料理で、しかもパリでこれですと。で別に主張するわけでもないんだけど、これをやりますっていう、そのいきさつ、その考え方っていうのはドミニクさんはなぜ大事だと思ってるんですか？
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for this question. I came to America years ago, and I didn't study in the cooking world. I was an economy bachelor, and I came to America with a lot of humility and because I didn't know the culture. And at the beginning, the only thing perhaps that when I got into cooking was about the emotion and the things that I've learned from my grandmother or my mother, but I didn't want to bring French food to America. That was not my place. So I started to learn and to observe, where I was. And, you have to realize that life is a journey. And when you come to a place and maybe have a different way of looking at cooking, because yes, France is very conservative, there's a certain way to do things. But life is a movement. We have to evolve, we have to accept and see what's around us. I came to California. What is California? California is a state that is located in USA. We don't call ourselves American, we call ourselves Californian. But what I was talking to you earlier is there is generation and culture from all over the world that came for many years. They came with their luggage and they put their luggage down and they look at each other. Korean, Japanese, Filipino, Italian, French, obviously Mexico is right here, from all over the world. And they look at each other and they realize that we're not gonna have a singular narrative. We're gonna help each other and learn from each other what we can do together. It's about evolution, So this is the way that we cook in San Francisco. We don't want to, having this French modern restaurant in San Francisco, that's not who I am. Yes, I was born here, but I'm a global citizen. I want to bring to France that, like you were talking about diversity and bringing new narrative. It's very important, Cooking should be freestyling. It should not have any restriction. The only restriction, you have to have recipe, you got to have detail, but you have to think outside of what should be, because what we're doing today, in 5 minutes, we're going to be different. If you go cook a fish, in 10 minutes, the fish not's going to have the same, so you have to adapt, you have to change, you have to come with things, So I'm bringing to Paris with a lot of humility the story of California. And hopefully, and I hope that, and I'm inviting the French people to come and to enjoy and to learn, I'm not imposing myself, but to learn. But the way you have to do that is you also have to learn about yourself. You have to learn about who you are. You have to be curious always about who you are. And we're talking about the inconvenience truth. You got to be truthful to yourself. So to be able to go out there and to tell the next generation, you do this, you have to do this, you have to do it for yourself, And we are here, like you said, we are here to be the bridge to the next generation, but we can't ask them to confine themselves in a way that you have to cook this way, or you got to do this, Be you, with a lot of respect for the others. And then I think this is how, the world of gastronomy, we talk about tradition. I respect tradition immensely, but it is also help us to be who we are today. The future, yes, is tomorrow. The future is now. We have to take the action. So, diversity is a word that can go everywhere. In the kitchen, can go, you are a journalist, you can be in a movie, you can, we can adapt and we can show the next generation that, you are who you are, you come from wherever you come from, but you have to know yourself. And you can't be contrarian about what the other did before. This is not, it's about, we talk about creativity before also. It's like not copy another person. Everybody is creative. And so, I'm just bringing what I learned and my story, and And it's not about me. And I told you that earlier last week when we had the team in front of us. The first things that I said to them, first of all, I'm so grateful and thank you. But I just say, I am planting the seed here. And it's up to you to make sure that you put some water on it. I might not see the tree coming up, but you will be the one that see the tree and the flowers. So you have to continue this. And I think that's important, you know. So come to my restaurant. That's it.
来週ですね、6月15日にオープンするそうなんで、パリに行かれたらぜひチェックしてください。時間もまだ多少ありますね。トニーさん、もう一つちょっと行けたら行きたいんですけど、ホスピタリティの今業界っていうのは、自分の聞いた話ではものすごく人手不足が進んでいるっていうのが一つと、さらに一旦離れた人たちは戻ってこなくなってきているっていう現象があると。その理由っていうのは何なんですか。でしかもこれは、ヨーロッパだけの状況なんですか、それとも日本でも同じような現象、世界中の問題なんですか、これは。
No, it's definitely global. I mean, in our group, we talk a lot about it, and we've been talking about it for some time. And when we had our online meetings during the pandemic, we talked about it as well. And we lost a lot of people during the pandemic. First of all, they got other jobs. Maybe they were easier, maybe they were better paid, so why go back? There's not one reason. There's a lot of reasons to this. And I think if I look at Northern Europe, where I live and run my place and write about, it is about, first of all the bad stories that comes out where we don't talk enough about how wonderful it is to cook professionally. I think we have had so much emphasis on negative stories about the hours, the pay, the bullying, and a lot of this is also true, but there's also another story. And I think it's very important we bring that story into the future because as we've been talking so much about, and as Dominic also said, it's about community. And not everybody is fit to have a career in academics, in science, in running a bus, driving a bus, which can be really important. There's so many important jobs. What we have to offer, we have to talk much more about it, and we also have to change it, to make it a place where you can grow as the person you are, where there's love in the team, where there's community, because everybody, the more you look into how the world looks today with the phone and everything, people need to be part of a community. And it's becoming, that's not new, but it's becoming more and more difficult to be in a human community, not just online and stuff where you meet each other. And that is something the kitchen can offer because you stand in the same room and you create something together that has to have a lot of love in it, and then you give it to others. So if you can tell that story, we can actually, lure the young people in to say this is actually something for you.
シェフトン、実際タイでの現状というのはどうなんですか。そのホスピタリティのフィールド、あと若者はどんどんやっぱガストロノミーに興味を持っているのか、あとそのガストロノミーの役割、そのタイの、つまりただ単に料理を作って料理をサーブするということなのか、それとも今日のすべてのテーマでも話されてたようにもっとワイドに社会のことだったり、あるいはその環境のことであったりっていうマインドセット、そういう考え方も出てきているんですか、タイは。
Yes, I think in Thailand right now, the gastronomy is very booming. If you watching how the food scene in Thailand has growing in the past 10 years is, I think in one of the fastest in the world. Because we actually, I think the Thai cuisine has been frozen in time for so long, because of the word, authenticity maybe. And then no one want to do anything about it, because in Thailand, 10 years ago, when I start cooking Thai food different, there's a lot of people came and then like, oh, you forget who you are, And this is not how you cook Thai food. And Thai food, you can cook, if you want to cook this curry, is the one way to make curry. And that, I think, is limited the creativities and what I always, fight for. And I find that, you see the greatest, cuisine in the world, Japan, Spain, in Europe, in France, in many places, they keep moving forward, and then have the new dishes, have the new ideas, have the new techniques, And then for Thailand, that's not the case for the past 50 years, maybe. And then we try to change that, and then many chefs now, we try to change that as well, that we have to accept ourselves that, Thai cuisine, the authentic Thai cuisine that we all know, and we so being protective is one of the most, fusion cuisine in the world, We take how to make the egg dessert, from Portuguese. And then now we claim that, it's ours, and then we cannot change it. And then we learn, stir fry from the Chinese when a lot of Chinese immigrate, including my grandfather as well. And then we this our dish. It's like a pad Thai, Pad Thai is the most un-Thai dishes in the Thai cuisine, I think. But then that's how we this pad Thai, and then we have to make it this way. It's created by, dictatorship, 50 years ago to become the national dish. But then, this the wrong perception, which is been fixing right now in Thailand. And I think that is the things that we have to show the young generation as well, that we can change things. And then if they see something that's not right, they can speak out, And then if they train in one kitchen, and then they don't like the way they've been treated, or they don't like, the chef that they used to work with, so they have to remind themselves all the time that when they came out, and then they have their own cuisine, they have their own restaurant, don't do the same mistake. Don't do the way you've been treated. Don't do that to the other people. You don't have to treat people that way to become a famous chef. You can choose, You can train with the chef that you don't like, but you gain all the knowledge. But when you become the chef, you have a choice to be a good chef and better person. And better person who will, create many more better person who's a good cook. And then we have a nicer environment, for the gastronomy world, and that will fix everything. Because now the gastronomy world will be better, and and a lot of people will want to come in the industry by themselves. We don't have to be oversell our story, but then we make it, beautiful and, full of happiness. I know that's a long way to go, but the young generation can choose to do that as well, and make the kitchen become a better place to live, to work, and to enjoy. Not like, I don't want to go to work, like a shit job, and we have to make the kitchen the better place. Yes.
Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。そうなんですよね。最終的には豊かさなんですよね。ハッピーになることっていうところに、すごくシンプルなところにたどり着くためのガストロノミーっていうことなんですよ。いろんなハードルはそこにたどり着くまで課題も解決していかなきゃいけないところはありますけども、今のお話聞いてすごいポジティブにさらに感じました。さあ、ここでですね、Q&A、会場の Q&A いきたいと思います。何かご質問ございましたらいかがでしょうか。質問ありますか。どうぞ。女子からの質問。
Sorry, I should ask you afterwards, but I think it's interesting because there's students here, and I wanted to ask a question for Chef Ton. and you talked about it briefly, how do you deal with negative feedback? Because you're dealing with tradition in your cooking and you've decided to do it a slightly different way. And obviously you can, and I know this from doing different things with fish, it can be fairly aggressive, the feedback, and it can be disheartening and demoralizing. And if that happens early, then what practices do you personally put in place to remain focused, resilient, determined? What allows you the freedom within your own mind to stay on track? Big question, sorry.
I think is the first is the confidence. Of course, that's why we have to respect the past. For me to do that, we have to understand the past correctly. I'm saying that because I know, how to make the green curry. I know what's going, to the curry paste. But then that is the way they do it. For me, how we make it better, how we make it different, how we make the different curry, how we make it different presentation. And then I think that's the way that, okay, we confidence that I think, without lying to myself, and then I taste, we do, and then I think this is a better dish than the one that have before. Then I proudly present to the customer, and then after that, it have to be, decided by, at the end of the day, we cooking for people, so it have to be decided by the one who actually come to the restaurant and pay, and that is all the customer that come to eat, and then tell you that they like it or not. And then in my case, in the very early days, when no one knows me, so we have all the only local customer who is Thai, and then they come in, and then they're like, okay, let's see what this, what is this kid cooking, and then they come and then they enjoy, and then there is the word of mouth, and then that's why we survive, in the first stage of the restaurant. And I think that's very important is the acceptance of the local people in your own cuisine, that you're doing something right. Of course, there's not everyone will make it, and that is the truth that all the students should know also. But at least you can try, and then before you try, you make sure that you equip with all the everything you have, because once you come out from the shadow of everyone will try to challenge you, I would say this, and then we have to be ready for that.
Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。ジョシュもありがとうございました。さあ、ということで時間もだいぶちょっと押しておりますので、この後は、サミットの総括、という形で、締めに入りたいと思います。ひとまず、トリナさん、そしてドミニクさん、そしてトンさん、ありがとうございました。